Hey everyone, in this video I will show you how to draw a quad and a triangle in a Unity engine. I will teach you the concept of mesh renderer, mesh filter and mesh object. So let's get started. To draw a triangle we would need 3 vertex positions. And the problem is that how the GPU will know how to draw a triangle with the help of these vertex positions. It can draw the triangle in the clockwise sense or the anti-clockwise sense. To resolve this issue, we have to assign some kind of indices to these vertex positions. Let's say 0, 1, 2. And now we can tell the GPU that go from 0 to 1 and then 1 to 2 and then 2 to 0. And that's it. The GPU will draw a triangle in the clockwise sense. So this ordered sequence of 3 indices is called a triangle. Apart from vertex positions and triangles, we have UVs and normals. UVs are used for the texture mapping and the normals are used for the lightning calculations. And these are collectively called as mesh. To render this mesh, we have to first of all create a mesh object, and then we have to send this mesh object to a component called mesh filter. The mesh filter will do some internal work on this mesh, and then it will delegate the rendering to a component called mesh renderer. To draw a mesh, let's create a C# script called triangle creator and open it up in the Sublime Text. And now let's clear this stuff. So first of all, we will have to declare a serialized variable of type color so that we can change the color of our triangle at runtime. And now in the start method, we will have to attach some components to our game object. So the first component that we have to attach is the mesh renderer. And the second component we have to attach is the mesh filter. To create a mesh, we will have to create a function which will create a mesh for our triangle. It will take the parameter as the mesh filter. To be able to see our triangle on the screen, we will have to create a material of type unlit. And now let's assign this material to our renderer, and now we can change the color at runtime of this material in the update method. To be able to visible this material in the update method, we will have to make this variable a global variable. Now we can change the color of our material per frame. Now at last, let's implement the method create triangle mesh. We will have to create an array of vertices of length 3 because a triangle has 3 vertices. And also we will have to create a triangle indices array of length 3. So let's initialize all of these positions one by one. So here I have taken the positions in the anti-clockwise sense and our camera is facing towards the positive z direction. Therefore, we have to initialize our triangle indices in the clockwise sense. And now we have to create a mesh object. Now assign the positions to our mesh.vertices and the triangles to our mesh.triangles. And at last, assign the reference of this mesh object to our mesh filter. So we are almost done. Now let's check it into the Unity editor whether it is working or not. Create an empty object, name it triangle mesh. And now let's attach this script to our this game object. And you can see that our triangle is totally pink. Why it is so? Unity gives this pink signal because there is some problem with our material. So there is a problem of finding the shader. Let's add shader.find. Now let's jump back to the Unity editor. Now you can see that our triangle is rendering very nice. And now we have covered the basic stuff of drawing a polygon on the screen. Now let's draw a quad. To draw a quad, we would require 4 vertices or 4 positions. Assuming that the center is at origin, we will need to assign some positions to these vertices. Let's 5, 5, 0 and minus 5, 5, 0, minus 5, minus 5, 0, and at last 5, minus 5, 0. To store these positions, we will need an array of vector 3 called positions. And now this quad has 2 triangles. To represent these triangles, we will need vertex indices. Let's say 0, 1, 2, 3. And now we can tell the GPU that go from 0 to 1 and 1 to 2 and 2 to 0. And this will be our first triangle. And for the second triangle, we can tell the GPU that go from 0 to 2 and 2 to 3 and 3 to 0. And this will be called our second triangle. To store these indices, we will need an array of integers, let's say triangles. Here the first 3 indices represents the first triangle and the second 3 indices represent the second triangle. Okay, fine enough. Let's create a C# script. Name it as quad creator. And now let's open it in the Sublime Text. And here we will need a serialized color variable which will be visible in our inspector In the start method, we will need to attach two components. First will be the mesh renderer and the second will be the mesh filter. And we will have to create a material for our quad so that we can change the color at the runtime. And now let's assign this material to our mesh renderer. And now we have to create a function, let's say create quad mesh, which will create a mesh for our mesh filter. And now in update function, we can assign the color to our material. And now let's implement create quad mesh function. It will take mesh filter as a parameter, and we will have to create an array of vector 3 of length 4. And we also have to create an array of integers of length 6. Because we have two triangles and each of these triangles will have 3 indices. And now assign values to all of these positions. Next, we have to assign values to the triangles. And at last, we have to create a mesh object, assign the positions to the mesh and the triangles to the mesh, and assign the reference of this mesh object to our mesh filter. Now we are done. Let's jump back to the Unity editor. Let's create a new game object, name it quad mesh, and attach the quad creator script to this game object. And now let's change the color to some light green. Let's enter in the play mode. And now you can see that our quad is rendering very nice. So this is pretty much for this video. If you like this type of videos, then make sure to subscribe my channel for frequent updates of my videos. Thanks for watching.